Hi everyone, I'm Harley D, and today we're going to be making bass like this. And bass like this. Okay, so let's get straight into it then. Okay, so everything we're going to be going over today is going to come straight from the serum patch. So I don't think there's pretty much no post-processing on this one. So it's just going to be the serum patch. So what I'll do is just give that a play, and then we'll get straight into it. Okay, so let's have a look at this first bass then. Yeah, that's the one we're going to be going over first, and then we'll look at the variation, and we'll have a look at some other stuff you can do with that. But yeah, in terms of the MIDI, I've got it set at E0. You can see it's just quarter notes, I believe, 3 of them, and then what I've got is a pitch bend. So the first note is actually being pitch bend up by 2. So it's actually probably starting here. So it's actually starting on F sharp, and then it's pitch bending down and getting back to its root note at E on the third one. And then the next one doesn't do that. So that's just the MIDI there. Okay, so let's have a look at the patch then. So I'm going to turn everything else off apart from oscillator A, and we're just going to start from there. So yeah, I've got the master set to like -9.5, and oscillator A is just a sine wave from the analog folder, basic shapes. Turn the random phase off, and do that for both of the oscillators as well. And yeah, what I'm going to do is use LFO1 to modulate the level. So it starts at like -34 there. And I'm going to turn it up on the matrix to 74 with this type you can see there. And that's going to create this movement. So as you can see, I've got it set to like 5.2 hertz on the rate with trigger mode on, and I've turned the BPM mode off so I can have a free rate essentially. I've got this sort of shape to create the movement. And I'm also going to put that LFO on oscillator B. Starting from 0 dB on the level, and let's have a look at how far it's modulating it. So 71 on the matrix there for volume B. And that's going to create that nice sort of tone. So what I've done is I've pitched the sine wave up by 2 octaves and 7 semitones. So that'll create this sort of tone. So what I'm going to do now, what I would do next is run it into the tube distortion to create some extra like grit and harmonics from it. I've got the drive at 83, the mixer's at 100%, and the next thing I would do is add the compressor in. So this is going to, bring the top end out a bit more and kind of bring it all together essentially, tie that tube distortion together a bit more. So you can see it sounds a lot more full now, a lot more thicker, nice, a bit more brighter as well. But it hasn't really got that tonal distortion that I was looking for from the sine waves, the resonance on this sort of like on this oscillator B, the tone. So what I'm going to do is use the reverb filter and basically just tune it to where, you see where this curve is here? Where I tune this, I want to get the curve just hitting the tone essentially. So if I set it to 185, the drive's at like 50, the mix is at 100, the resonance is at 10. This is what's going to help push up the tone into the distortion. So if I was to move the cutoff down, it would probably miss it now. And if I was to go up further, it would just be a bit too much and miss the curve and sound a little bit too, distorted on the tone. So this is like the sweet spot that I found, these sort of settings here. And what I'm going to do after that is add a little bit of stereo width in with the chorus. So I've got the mix at like 36, the high pass filter is at 561. So if you click that, you can change the from low pass filter to high pass. Feedback's at 10, depth's at 4.9, delays 0, delay 1's at 5. The rate's at 0.08. So that's just going to add a little bit of stereo width into the sound. You can add a bit more if you want. And yeah, then I'm just going to add a bit of noise into it. So it starts at 0 dB. We're going to use LFO1 again. And I don't want to add a lot in. So LFO1 it's just literally up to 4. So it's just to add a little bit of grit because it's going to get distorted with the tube and the compressor. And it's all going to tie together with that. So if I was to go too far, it's going to be a bit too much. So if we just play it now. Just adds a little bit of grit underneath it. So that's pretty much everything for this patch. And for the variation, what I've got is just a higher octave. So it's 12 semitones up now. And what I've done is just tuned the cutoff to 198. So just get it to hit that, because it's going to be a higher tone now on the second tonal part, second on oscillator B. It's going to have a higher tone. I'm going to basically just turn the cutoff up by a little bit, just so it hits around here, around this part here on the tone. So yeah, that's pretty much how that's made. For example, if I was to drop that back down to where it was, it doesn't get that distortion that I'd be looking for. So yeah, that's pretty much how these patches are made. Like you can do other stuff with it like this. I'll just show you this version over here. And yeah, what I've done here, so as you see on LFO1, I've moved it from there to here, so it's a bit more plucky essentially. You can change the rate to get different movement speeds. So here I've also put the LFO2 on the coarse pitch of oscillator B. And what that's doing is just creating like a tremolo effect on the pitch of the tone. So if you have a little listen, creates a little bit of movement on that tone, and it works nice because it's a slower rate. So little things like this can make a difference to the sound. But yeah, the main thing is to obviously work with this cutoff here, just to push the tone up into the distortion enough for it to sound right. And yeah, play around with the rates. You can mess around with different pitches. You could go up another octave, go down different semitone amounts. So yeah, quite a cool little patch, and no post-processing you have to do. So what I'll do is I'll leave the preset in the description. If we hit like 300 likes or something, I'll put that up on Dropbox. And yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to go over in this video. So if you like the video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more like this, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to support me, head over to my Patreon. I'll leave the link in the description for that as well. There's loads of exclusive tracks, loads of sample packs, and loads of production videos. So I've got a new one coming this month all about drums. So if you want to know anything about that, my approach, there's your place.